hello everyone. Welcome back to another Podcast Valley Sunday. I am one of your hosts, Chris Paco.
And I have the other host, Jeff Cameron.
How's it going, Jeff?
Hey, it's a good day.
It is. It's a good Podcast Valley Sunday.
You know it.
Well, okay. Well, let's get into this one. We're at episode 29, just zipping through.
Yeah, man.
And it's a good one. The Monkees Get Out More Dirt. Which at first I just read the title. I was like, I have no idea where we're going with this one. But then it becomes clear quite quickly.
For real.
So we got this one's directed by Gerald Shepard.
Who the what?
Yeah, got some new butts in the seats here. But written by Gerald Gardner and our buddy D. Caruso.
Thank God.
So we're in good hands at least.
Yes.
Originally
for
aired April 2nd, 1967. So day after April Fools. So maybe they're like, oh, we're gonna get Frawley back in. April Fools. It's Gerald Shepard. They're like, who's this chump? Just kidding, Shepard. I'm sure you're a great guy. All right, so we open up at a laundromat, and the boys are starting to do their laundry. Which, first time we've ever seen them doing any real world kind of stuff.
Yes, and like for real, compared to the other technology we see in the Monkees, laundry ain't changed much since '66.
Very true.
It's still the same concept, and like almost everything else has changed.
Yeah, exactly. I think the only thing that's changed maybe the soap. Because it looks like they use these weird cubes of soap.
So that part's weird.
Yeah, that's the only difference, I'd say. So they get there, and Mike puts a reserved sign on the washer, and then Peter starts to rip all the buttons off of his shirt, and he says, Mike asks him what he's doing, and then Peter says,
my shirts always come back from the laundry with buttons missing.
So I guess he's trying to
get ahead of the game.
Yeah, he's trying to get ahead of the curve there and just rip them off himself. And then we see there's some dude reading a newspaper that seems to have an interest in them for some reason. He just keeps checking them out from behind the newspaper.
Yeah.
Or he's just nosy, one or the other. So then Davey goes to get some soap, and the woman working there is insanely hot and insanely tall. And this is Julie Newmar, but she plays April.
April.
Yeah, she plays April. And it's a great visual gag of her and Davey's POV of each other as she stands up. Like, you just see her towering over Davey, and then you see her, looking down at Davey.
Yeah.
And all Davey, he just says, soap, soap, soap.
Soap? Soap?
And then he just backs away. And then Mickey goes up to her to get soap, does the same thing. And then so does Peter. And then Mike asks what's wrong with them, and then he also falls under the spell. And while they're all in the daze, this nerdy dude, who looks like Sweet Chuck's dad from Police Academy, he comes in, and he throws 2 cubes of that weird soap into Mike's washer, and he holds up a box with a question mark, and then a hand holding up one of the soaps busts through the lid, and then the two of them wrestle for a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that was like a play on a commercial at the time.
Of the time, 100%, yeah.
Yeah. But I would have to say, if I was there and had to get soap from Julie Newmar, I would do the same thing. She is mesmerizingly beautiful.
Yeah.
It was crazy.
Her full name on the show is April Conquest.
April Conquest. Amazing. It's like the Rich Swank Hotel.
For real.
Just get right to the point in the name.
For real. As everybody probably knows, Julie Newmar is also a Catwoman in the Batman TV show around this time. Catwoman, whose primary superpower throughout the DC canon is being hot.
Yeah, sexiness. Meow.
You got your Michelle Pfeiffer, you got your Halle Berry in that terrible movie. But still, though, she's one of our most perfect humans.
It is true. Anne Hathaway is also a Catwoman and is also extremely beautiful. So, yeah, so now intro shows up. Boom.
2 minutes up.
So then the boys return to the pad, still in a daze and still saying soap. And they all sit down, and then Mike says he has to go back to get his laundry.
You're wearing it.
And Mike dumps water out of his shoe. Because, yeah, that's one thing. Mike just puts shoes in the washing machine when he's putting
that's right.
stuff in. And Mickey tells them all he has a sick aunt. and he has to go see her, and then he scurries out of the pad super quick. And then Mike says that he's going to the store to get some dog food. And Davies tells him that they don't have a dog.
I'll run out of the store and pick up a dog.
And then he splits. And so then Davy and Peter are sitting there, and suddenly Davy hops up and tells Peter that he wants to be a boxer, which is a recurring theme with Mr. Jones.
For real.
He always wants to be a boxer.
He was like a few weeks ago.
Yeah. Let's go back to it, I guess. And he says that he has to start doing some road work to get in shape, and then he splits. And Peter's left all alone. He decides he should go see April. And he just goes. The only truthful one is Peter.
For real.
So then back at the laundromat, Davy somehow gets there first.
From his previous road work as a boxer, last time he was a boxer, he's got some skills, some speed.
Yeah. He always gets to the birds first, though. He's got like bird dar. He knows how to get there. He knows the quickest route as the crow flies, babe.
Bird dar.
And
bed dar.
And so she's nearly as tall as he is when she's sitting down and he's standing beside her.
It's amazing.
And then the guy with the newspaper's still there as well.
Mm-hmm.
And he's checking it out. And she says that she's doing her postgraduate studies at the Laundromatic Institute of San Bernardino. And there's a funny moment when she stands up and her boobs are right in Davy's face. And he gives a quick little glance before he straightens himself up and gets to her shoulders. And now his shoulders are in his face. So then Mike shows up. What route did Mickey take? He left first. And he got beat by the other two guys.
Mickey's easily distracted.
Yeah, true. Yeah, he's probably bouncing up and down off the mailboxes and stuff like that on his way over. And Mike asks Davy what he's doing there, and Davy says,
April and I are having a private conversation about laundering science. It's a science, you know.
Yeah?
Yeah, that's right. It's like astrology.
And Mike asks what all the tubes and beakers are on the desk, and April said that she's working on her doctor's thesis.
Why can't your doctor work on his own thesis?
Which I thought was pretty funny.
That's a Monkees joke.
Yeah. And it's also a good way to make a girl laugh, too, I bet. If you work on a doctor's thesis and you bring that up, she'll probably think that's pretty funny. Good old Mike. And so finally Mickey shows up, and he stumbles, right into April's face. Their noses are almost touching each other. And Davy asks her to tell them more about the science of laundry. And April says that there's a whole world of dirt. And while she's talking, she's holding Davy's hand. And Mickey has his head on her shoulder. And she tells him that the only way to combat the dirt is with a washing machine. And she opens one up, and then Peter's head pops out of it.
Oh, how the Peter?
See, now he's the sneakiest one, I gotta say. He left last, but got in the washing machine. And she starts to pet his head and laughs, and I think it's a real genuine laugh when that happens. I think
For sure.
I think that's Julie Newmar.
They're having a lot of fun, for sure.
Yeah, how could you not?
For real.
So back at the pad, all the boys are pacing around, and it's a cool choreographed move where they're all crossing each other's paths but never bumping into each other.
Yeah.
It's really neat. And so then Mike and Davey start to argue, and Mickey tells them that they should stop before someone says something they'll regret.
Yeah.
And then they turn on the TV, and it's a woman, Dr. Laureen Sisters. And she's answering questions about love and family problems.
This is a takeoff of Dr. Joyce Brothers, you'll recall from
Yeah.
back in the day.
That's funny. I was wondering why she's called Sisters. That
Yeah.
definitely makes sense. And so she reads a letter from someone who calls themselves Anguished. And he says he asks how to get a woman to love you back if you love her, right? And Dr. Sisters says that the fastest way to a woman's heart is through her mind.
You know, I would never have thought of that route.
Dang.
And she says you need to find out what kind of man she likes, and you have to be that man. And so each of the boys rise slowly and then take off to get to a phone. Davey goes to the phone in the hallway. Mickey uses the red phone in the pad, and he's wearing a weird suit with a hat on it that says M.O.T.
Yeah.
And Peter climbs up a telephone pole to get to the phone at the top of the pole. And Mike is dressed up like a spy, like an English spy kind of thing, and he uses a shoe phone. So Davy calls April's mom and finds out that she likes artists. Peter calls her neighbor and finds out that she had a string quartet over last night. And Mike and Mickey are both talking to her, I think, anyway. That's what it seemed like.
Yeah.
I don't know if she had call waiting in 67 or whatever, but she's talking to both of them. And Mike finds out that she likes motorcycles, and Mickey finds out that she wants her next husband to be a ballet dancer. So, interesting.
Wow.
Interesting. This girl's all over the map.
For real.
And so essentially, they're all being shady weirdos, trying to find out what she likes so they could pretend to like it too.
Yep.
And so they could woo her.
You couldn't stalk the social meds.
Yeah.
You had to
exactly.
phone strangers. Maybe for some reason they're divulge and shit like this. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah, exactly. That people don't know to hush up about your. If you got to think, these neighbors must be getting calls like this all the time about April. Like, guys must be tripping over themselves constantly
Oh man.
to get to April. I can't talk shit about it because I'd probably be doing the same thing for this woman.
Are you ever a woman?
So then Mickey hangs up the red phone and it falls into the hole in the table that it's in. And then a hand reaches up and tries to pull him. I wonder if it's the same hand from the laundry that tried to pull in Sweet Chuck's dad.
Hand specialist brought in for this one.
Yeah, exactly. Maybe that's Gerald Shepard. That's how he gets in. It's like, if I'm only getting one, I'm putting myself in there.
Was this Caruso's idea?
Yeah. I just want to get my hands around their necks for so much improv. Read the gold, gentlemen. Read the gold.
Mystery solved. It was D. Caruso.
Yeah. Angry D. Just wanted to wrap his hands around Mickey's neck. Enough with the Cagney. So at the laundromat, April's helping a woman, and the newspaper guy's still there. Davy shows up with a suitcase and a stand and tells that he's there to paint his next mural on the wall, and she swoons instantly. She asks if he's an artist.
The fish swim?
He paints a big red X and then paints a blue arrow, and then she gets sparkly eyes, and she starts kissing his fingers, which is weird. Yeah.
Enough with the Cagney was like losing a grenade. It took a few seconds to go off. Oh my god. Because for sure somebody's told Mickey that.
Actually, you know what? I think that's D. Caruso's autobiography title.
Oh, there we go. Fantastic. All right. Sorry about that. Mickey's the painter. No, Davy's the
Davy's the painter. Yeah. And she's kissing his fingers, but then she hears music, and Peter comes in playing a little, I think it's a harpsichord he's playing.
Yeah.
And it's on a weird bike. He pedals it in. And he's
for real.
trailed by a string section.
Yep.
And she drops Davy's hand and says to Peter, "You play chamber music?"
Do fish swim?
And then she gets sparkly eyes again and runs over to Peter.
Oh boy.
Then suddenly Mickey shows up and ballet dances around the laundromat. And she says, "You do ballet?"
Do fish swim?
And he flies around on wires. It's really funny and just flying all over the place.
Yeah.
And Davy asks how he did that. And Mickey says,
A man in love has a strength of thousands.
and she gets sparkly eyes and runs over to Mickey. And then the other two run over and try to re-woo her. But then
The re-wooing.
the re-woo. And then Mike comes rumbling in on a motorcycle. And she says, "Oh, Mike, you ride a bike?"
That's right, baby. And fish can swim.
I love that Mike
That
makes his own of it.
Yeah, for real. I forgot how they kind of ended that. Do they all say that?
Yeah.
If a Mike comes in and just changes it up or casually fucks it up, I don't know. But it's just the way he says it, just changes it enough and makes it cool.
It's no
On the
longer
back of a bike. Come on.
Yeah, no longer a
great.
question. And fish could swim. Boom. So he starts doing wheelies, and April gets sparkly eyes, and then Mike knocks everything over with his motorcycle, which leads to a weird Monkees romp number 1,
Yeah.
using the theme from the Monkees,
Yeah.
which is I think the first time they've used this song seriously in an episode. Like,
just in the show, like you were talking about this an episode or two ago. Do they use the theme in the thing?
yeah.
But I guess they do. They totally do.
And it's weird that it's for a romp for episode 29. Like,
Yes, but also it's the Julie Newmar episode. Maybe they knew this was going to be like the Emmy clip or something.
yeah, that's true. Yeah, so it starts playing, and then all the guys are doing whatever they think that they need to do to get April to love them. Like, Mickey's flying around, Davey's painting, Mike's doing wheelies, Peter's on the harpsichord, and April says she loves them all. She loves everybody.
She's just into a lot of shit.
Yeah, hey, she's
Good.
a woman of the
You know,
60s.
it's awesome.
Yeah. And so she puts a blindfold on while she's painting with Davey, which is weird. And then Mike runs into a flying Mickey, and they smash into the mural wall. And Davey freaks out about their safety, not freaks out because of the wall. And he goes to see if they're okay, which was very nice. I thought that was nice.
Oh, yeah.
And April's very amused and says she loves all of them,
Of course.
which isn't an answer for any of them. And so then that's the end of the romp, essentially. It's a weird little mini romp, a rompette. So back at the pad, all the guys are still in a daze, and Davey says,
I wonder what it'd be like going through life with a girl like that.
right, which I think Davey says a lot, and probably would also kind of know what it would be like to go through life with a girl like that. And which then leads instantly into Monkees Romp number 2, like 12 seconds after Monkees Romp number 1.
Gotta keep romping.
Yep, you gotta keep romping. And it's to the girl that I knew somewhere.
Yes.
Is it just the girl I knew somewhere?
A girl.
Okay.
It's credited as a few different things at the end of the show. You'll see that sometimes that they'll F up the titles.
Great song. I love that
That's
song.
Great.
And so you see Davey fantasizes about April and him painting. It appears that she's wearing like a smock and nothing else. Like she's got this smock on and just legs. And
Wonderful.
Peter daydreams about playing music for her. Mike dreams about her riding on the back of his motorcycle. Mickey thinks of him and her dancing. And she looks effing amazing in Mickey's fantasy. Mickey and Davey know how to fantasize about April. The other two guys are kind of slacking off, I'd say.
For the record, it is The Girl I Knew Somewhere.
The Girl I Knew Somewhere. I thought so.
Written by Michael Nesmith. First released as the B-side to A Little Bit Me, A Little Bit You.
Huh. Really, I didn't know Mike wrote this.
Oh yeah, and this was in support of the group's third album, Headquarters.
Boom.
So we're already into this era of the Toads.
That's so crazy. We're still in season 1, but they're plugging their third album.
They cranked them out, man.
Did they ever? Like, they've already been through all the nonsense with Kirshner, and like they're doing their own stuff. That is a crazy year.
I think either this one or the next one, I think, is the first episode not to have Kirshner on the credits.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay. And so anyway, there's like these super close-ups of the dudes' faces in this thing too, like eyes to mouth kind of close-ups.
Like way big. Like I was watching it on the TV. I was picturing, what if Davy Jones was that big? He'd be like literally 3 stories tall.
Enormous Davy Jones. Then Mike would be like 7 stories tall.
For real.
And Davey makes a painting, and the painting is something that says $500, and he puts like the price tag on it, and it's $500. And Mickey like zooms through the air, and he takes out laundry baskets and smashes into the wall like pretty hard. I think the guys pulling the ropes kind of pulled too hard there.
A little bit, yeah.
And Davey makes another painting that says "I love you," and April writes "Me too" underneath it, and then the price tag says "Not for sale." Very cute, very cute. The boys are in a string quartet. At one point, she gets super violent with Davey in the paint. Like, she just starts throwing stuff around and going crazy. And she's on the back of Mike's motorcycle, and in the sidecar are the other 3 guys sitting there creeping on their date. And then the boys are doing karate for some reason. And then there's a thing where April's riding this toy horse. And then that's the romp. It's a very, very interesting romp. It's just showing the boys. It's funny, like it's all their fantasies, but they all end up in each other's. They all crash each other's fantasies. So.
My goodness.
Craziness. So, at the pad, the boys say that they all like the same girl, but it's no reason for them to mess up their friendship. And then
For real.
you cut to the pad, and it's been separated into 4 equal parts. So each of them have a quadrant.
That image has become iconic during these times. On all the monkey pages, people are like, lol, share. You see that picture all the time these days.
Oh, yeah? That's funny.
Oh, yeah.
So Peter complains, and Mickey says that at least he has the TV. And Peter says, yeah, but you have the icebox. And Mickey opens it, and it's completely empty. And Mickey says that he'd trade Davy for the front door. And Davy says, well, he'd trade Mike for the bathroom. And Mike's like on his way into the bathroom. And then Peter turns on the TV, and it's Dr. Sisters again with a letter from Tormented. And that's Peter's letter. Peter was tormented. And so the boys come crowd around the TV. When Peter tells them to get out of his area, Mike tells him to shut up.
Get out of my area!
Oh, shut up.
Oh, my God.
It's so funny. Just the way he says, like, you guys are in my area. Shut up. Just a little harsh moment towards Peter, I think. But, you know.
Oh, man.
So she reads Peter's letter.
At least he didn't scream in his face this time.
Boom!
I mean, a whole other thing. If he's just like half a foot away, shut up.
Yeah. So she reads Peter's letter.
My 3 friends and I are all in love with the same girl. These friends are very dear to me, and I wouldn't want to lose them for the world. Hey! So my question is, what can I do to cut them out?
Essentially, from here on out, they're talking to Dr. Sisters, and she's responding to them like it's a FaceTime call.
Yeah,
Essentially,
yeah.
right? Like,
it's kind of fun.
They ask something, and on the TV, she responds right to them. And she says that the boys have put April in a tough spot because now she's torn between the 4 of them, and it can lead to a mental collapse. And she has a letter from a girl saying she's in love with 4 boys and that she's close to a mental collapse. And it's signed Miss Laundromat. And the boys just take off.
way to keep it on the down low, April.
Yeah. Maybe she figures the boys don't watch Dr. Sisters. And she'd be safe. So at the laundromat, there's a sign that says closed due to illness. And Mike says that Sunday is her busiest day. And I assume that it's Sunday that day. And if she doesn't open, she might go out of business, and they need to help her. So they decide that they'll shoot for her, like play odds, to see who gets to date April, essentially. And Mickey, Mike, and Dave each put out 2 fingers, and Peter puts out 1. And he says, well, I lost. And Mickey's like, no, you actually won. You won the girl. And like, you know what, good for Peter. He put up with a lot of stuff.
For real.
So I think he deserves this. And then the boy...
After all the verbal and physical abuse.
Yeah.
Let's give Pete Catwoman.
Exactly. Yeah. He gets the most beautiful woman ever to grace the Monkees stage, in my humble opinion. Yeah, so all the boys say that they'll go to her place and get her and bring her over to Peter, and he's got to stay there to do the laundry and keep the business afloat. And they'll bring her back to Peter, and she'll be all his.
Oliver? I think we chose the wrong guy.
Let's make it 5-3.
But Mike squashes that. And so Peter asks how he's supposed to get in without a key. And Mickey tells him you can't expect the writers to know everything. Improvise. So Peter just opens the door and walks in. I wonder if Caruso was like, how dare you? Writers don't know everything. Writers made your world, bub. I think of everything you say. Your brain is a typewriter that sits on my desk. You hack.
Oh, man.
Angry D, settle down. You settle down.
Yeah. Oh, jeez. Let's turn off his mic for a minute.
Yeah, exactly. We gotta mute him on the Zoom call here. You son of a... Okay, he's muted. If you could only see him right now, he's freaking out.
Oh, my God.
So, back at April's house, the boys let themselves into her bedroom, it seemed like. And she's sprawled out on the bed. It's like a Renaissance painting. She's got like the huge nightgown, and the bed's so nice and everything.
Like ribbons in her hair.
Yeah, ribbons in her hair. And then it's funny because then Davey says,
And Peter gets this?
and Mickey again wants to go best 2 out of 3. And then Mike says, don't you know what it's like to be a good loser?
It makes me sick to my stomach.
And so then April wakes up, and she's all weak. And she sees the 3 dudes in her bedroom, but she's so weak she doesn't seem to be too surprised about it.
This is nothing new.
Yeah. And Davy walks over to her and says that her mother let them in. And she says to Davy that they'll be painting together soon. Or she asks Davy, like, we'll be painting together soon? And Davy tells her that painting's a drag and that she'd be better off with Peter. And you can tell it's killing him. You can just tell, oh God.
For sure.
And then she asks Mickey if he's been doing the ballet lately. And he says that the ballet is dumb and that he's a tree surgeon now. But he doesn't make house calls, which is weird. And that she'd be better off with Peter. And she asks Mike if he's given up motorcycling. And he says that he has, but he's taken up skydiving. And April's really into that. So he's got to change his story and says she'd be better off with Peter. And then she says, oh, I feel better already. But then asks where Peter is. And then we cut to the laundromat, and Peter's getting beaten up by a bunch of women because he doesn't know how to do their laundry.
Oh, jeez.
And the guy with the newspaper puts it down. He's not wearing a shirt. And he walks over to the dryer and grabs his shirt, but it's shrunk. And so he gets angry, and then he helps the women in beating up Peter. So then the boys show up with April, and she grabs Peter and kisses him.
How can I ever thank you?
That'll do for a start.
And yeah, very good. I'm so happy that Peter got the lady friend in this one. So back at the pad, Peter's all dressed up, and he's lighting a candle for their date. And the other three guys are so bummed out, and Davey won't shut up about it. He still can't believe they let Peter get April. In the Monkees world, it must have been weird for Davey to not get this beautiful woman to go out with him and to hand her off to Peter. Like, he must have just been beside himself. Yeah. Even probably, I bet what happened was he pissed off D. Caruso, and Caruso's like, I know how to get you back. I got my friend Julie Newmar from Batman. I'm putting her with Peter.
Oh my God.
And
some of these plots are definitely designed to punish the Monkees psychologically based on how they've pissed off D. Caruso in one way or another.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think Gerald Gardner's like?
I wonder.
Gosh, D.
Yeah. Come on.
Why you gotta be so mean to the boys?
If you're not mean to them, they'll walk all over you.
But D, they're just kids, man.
Kids are just little grown-ups who act like jerks.
Okay, D.
But so April knocks on the door. Peter answers it, and she's in this silver mini dress. It's mind-blowing.
Unreal outfit.
Yeah, she's like a space Barbarella kind of girl. You know?
Yep, totally.
And Peter must have been so excited when he opened that door.
Oh.
And then she says she can't stay, but she wants to introduce them to her fiance, and this hippie-esque weirdo dude. He looks like the back of Rodney on the Rock when he's playing Davy, essentially.
Right.
He's got that goofy haircut, like the prince from Shrek. He's got that haircut. And she says that she's never met a singer before, and they kiss each other and then go skipping away. And she even skips hot when she skips away. She puts like her oh man, it's crazy. And Peter's sad, but and Davy says
April is the cruelest month.
Peter starts to cry. I would too. And Mike says that he needs to be a good loser, and then Peter cries harder, and Mickey says
That's a good loser.
And Peter cries that they all loved her, and how many of them are ever going to find happiness. And there's another knock at the door, and 4 pretty girls walk in saying they're their new neighbors and ask where the laundromat is. And then the boys count like the 4 girls, and they count the 4 guys. Peter counts 5. And then they take the girls out of the pad, and that's the end of the show.
That was that. Happy endings after all. And I think when they're walking out the door, Mike just has one of the girls' shopping bags and chucks it back in the apartment, and they leave.
Yeah, we're not going to the laundromat. And so yeah, that was that's the episode right there. Overall thoughts of this episode, I like it. Again, it's a a pretty equally spaced episode between the 4 guys. It's not a one guy episode essentially.
For sure, yeah. They all get to do it. They all get to participate.
Yeah, they all fall
But
in love.
it bums me out when the boys are turned against each other.
Me too. Yeah, I don't like it either. So I'm happy they all became buddies in the end again.
For sure. And this is like a less complex episode. There's not like a bunch of grown-ups in it. There's also not much actual monkey rock and roll business.
No.
But
No.
we get to hear The Girl I Knew Somewhere.
Yep.
Currently number 7 on the Randomatic Countdown.
Yeah, look at that, top 10. And then the theme
So,
shows up, makes an appearance,
There we go.
which is weird.
Which is a little farther down the countdown.
Yeah. And no, I like this episode. I don't love it, but definitely Julie Newmar helps put this one higher up on my list.
Yeah, this was definitely a fun episode to watch. Clearly a fun episode to make.
Yeah.
And it's rightly one of, I don't know, a lot of people's top 5 Monkees episodes.
Yeah, it's a good one. I like it a lot. No guns in this episode.
Wait, really?
I don't think so. But yeah, no, but this one was gun free because essentially it's about a laundromat and falling in love. So I don't know where a gun could fit in there. The only place would have been if the naked guy was so mad about his shirt getting shrunk that he pulled out a gun.
He shoots Peter.
Yeah, which I
Oh,
bet
man.
has happened in like Pensacola, Florida or something. Someone's shirt got shrunk and they pulled out. They bared arms. Highlight of the show, for me, just Julie Newmar in every scene. That
True.
every single time.
That's pretty much it. Yeah.
Monkees ruse. Each guy tried to ruse April into loving them
Yeah.
and ended up kind of getting they kind of rused themselves.
They
As if they
kinda
had just been themselves.
Choose yourself before you ruse yourself.
Yeah.
Jiggity, choose yourself before you ruse yourself.
Oh, man.
That's the lesson of today's episode.
That should be on a Monkees shirt. Choose yourself before you ruse yourself. With a picture of like April with that weird hippie guy walking away. Classic Monkees moment. There's no don't do that's. There's no scares. They didn't scare each other in this episode. So I don't know. Not really.
Mike telling Peter to shut up, does that qualify?
Maybe. What wouldn't fly in 2020? I think this episode could just fly as is.
Pretty much. General objectification of April. Her name is April Conquest.
Yeah. They never get too creepy, other than maybe walking into a room. But her mom let them in. So
Yeah.
So they were.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. Calling up people's loved ones and asking them tips on how to date the person in question.
But that was prescribed by a doctor. So they're just following the prescription.
Yeah.
Essentially, a doctor just said, yes, you have to lie to this woman in order to make her like you.
Unreal.
Okay.
Unreal.
I couldn't find a lot of did you knows about this one, to be honest.
No, there's not much to it.
Yeah, I think the only thing is like this is like the first time the theme from the Monkees has been used seriously in a show.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like Julie Newmar was Catwoman. So yeah, that's everything right there.
But isn't that time? Isn't that time, Paco?
Kids, if I hear correctly, I hear a theme song. And it is time for the Woolhat of Mystery. Okay, so I don't remember who goes first. So if you would like to, you may do the honors.
Okay, hang on. Okay. Oh boy.
Sounds amazing.
We got shades of gray today.
But today there is no day or night. Today there is no dark or light. Today there is no black or white. Only shades of gray.
Shades of Grey, written by Barry Mann and Cynthia Weil. They're professional building songwriter people. It speaks of the quality of the tune itself.
Yep.
Like, it's just, there's not a note out of place. I don't know if, like, they got the sheet music and they just had Peter teach it to the guys, and this is how it's going to go. I don't know. Like, maybe it's the thing they had, like, a demo of it. Just let's do it a couple times and just do it. But, because this is on Headquarters.
Yep.
The one that they sing and play everything, except maybe that French horn, or, like, just a couple minor touches like that.
I like this song a lot. I'm usually not into like slower jams, but this one I do like. It works really well, and it's really cool.
It gets you. It gives you the feeling.
Yes. Yeah, and on that Greatest Hits record, it was definitely a great closer to that album.
Yeah.
They knew what they were doing for sure. And it's also cool because each guy kind of sings on it, like maybe not a lead part, but it's not just one guy's song.
You could hear, like, I think everybody, you could kind of pick out everybody at some point in the song.
Yeah.
Because it was on that original Greatest Hits CD that we listened to so much. Not sure how far it will land up the old countdown. Where would you put it? Because it is a jam. We could say that.
Definitely. Yeah. It's a great song.
Would you put her somewhere around As We Go Along? We're in the jams, but we're in the complicated feeling towards area of the countdown.
I'd put it between Sweet Young Thing and Good Times at number 39.
Yeah, let's do it. All right, so I do believe it's your turn.
It is. All right, here I go.
Phalanges in action.
Okay, here we go. I got one. I got We Were Made for Each Other.
Ooh. You pulled the Jonesy.
Number one with a bullet.
We were made for each other as the stars are made for the sky.
We Were Made for Each Other from The Birds, the Bees, and the Monkees.
Yes.
One of their coolest album covers. I think that's a great album cover.
Yes. And it's in the number 3 spot on side 1. Usually where you put the knockout killer hit of the album. And it's tucked between Auntie's Municipal Court and Tapioca Tundra.
Interesting placement.
Yeah.
I would have even thought like maybe like a side 2 jam. Like maybe song 2, side 2. Like come out with a ripper and then go into this one, and it kind of lulls you into whatever you're going to next. I don't dislike the song. Like it almost turns into Shades of Grey when it's going into the chorus. To me at least, it feels like they could have put the Shades of Grey chorus in this one, and it would have been a nice little work in.
That's when I knew that I would adore you. It was no surprise. It was easy then to know what was fair.
It's a nice Davey song. It's got that harpsichord beginning.
Pretty strong album for Davey. Like side 1 alone has got Dream World's the first song. Made for Each Other is the 3rd song. Daydream Believers the 5th song.
Bam. This is
and side 2's also got the poster and motherfucking Valerie.
Whoo! This is
so. Davey comes correct on Birds, Bees, and the Monkees.
Yeah, the Birds, the Bees, and the Davies.
Like Mickey is kind of sidelined a bit, but he does get to co-sing Auntie's Municipal Court. He's got Back Upon My Feet that they finally made an album version of here on this record. And P.O. Box 9847, the song We Can't Decide Whether or Not It's a Jam or a Jam.
Yeah, that's a straddling.
And of course, Zor and Zam. And the rest is a whole bunch of Mike stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, it's a solid album. And in all honesty, I feel like with all the Davey songs on this record, which are like all pretty good, this is kind of like the one they were probably like, you know what, Dave, you got to have your ballady song. And I think that's why this one made it onto this record.
We think of like, this is like, oh God, this is just a typical Davey song, but it's the only Davey song quite like this on the record.
So you got to kind of wonder, maybe Davey was like, look, man, I don't want to do these songs about love all the time, man. I want to rock out now. Like, Davey, come on.
Oh, I'm sure.
Know your place. Do the song that makes the birds swoon. And and he took that to heart, I guess. But I don't hate this song by any means.
Right,
but I don't really love this song. It's not a.
It's not even our favorite song on this album, by any stretch.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think it kind of defaults to jelly status. Let's scroll down a little on the old countdown.
Yeah, it's definitely a post P.O. box. What about between like Don't Bring Me Down and Hold On Girl at number 61.
Okay, let's pop it in.
All right, so 61 with a bullet.
Bang.
We were made for each other. I was wondering, if the harpsichord being played was the one on the bicycle that Peter was playing.
I mean, we don't know it wasn't.
No, so I'm going to say it was. I read that it 100% was. All right, so it's your chance to pull us out of these dull drums that we have been in.
Dull drums. Wow, you went full Gil Faison there. Back to the hat.
Alrighty, let's do it. Let's see where we're going now.
Zam, badoom. Finally. And I think this might have been one of the Davy songs you were talking about. It is Look Out, Here Comes Tomorrow.
Boom! I was wondering when we were going to get to this one.
Well, I see all kinds of sorrow inside. Only know one. Look out, here comes tomorrow. Oh, how I wish tomorrow would never come.
Look Out, Here Comes Tomorrow, written by Neil Diamond. Possibly the same day he wrote I'm a Believer.
Big day
Later
for
that
Neil.
afternoon, I saw her face, but then I also saw her face, and now I believe too much. So look out, here comes tomorrow. After gently ripping on Davey for a bit, we got like a Davey knockout grand slam.
Yeah.
One of our favorite tunes of his, for sure.
So it starts off with that sweet jangly acoustic. And then Davey comes right in for Look Out, Here Comes Tomorrow. I could say this song for me, the day before I started high school, right? I was, for some reason, I was terrified to start high school. I was terrified I was going to be the nerd and I was going to have no friends. And I played this song like 20 times in a row, like Look Out, Here Comes Tomorrow. And I was like, oh my God. And I remember when I first heard the song, when you got the box set early in the summer, I was like, I'm going to play this song on the last day of the summer. And I did. And I listened.
Wait, is this also because you were dating two different babes at the time, and then you're going to see them on the first day of high school, and they were going to find out, this is the real reason? Did you leave that part out?
I wish that was the reason. It was literally because I was scared I'd have no friends in high school. So I was so scared about tomorrow coming. And that's what this song always reminds me of for whatever stupid reason. That's what it is. Crazy. But this is a great song, hands down. One of my favorite Davy songs. My favorite Davy song's still out there in the world. So one day we'll come across it, hopefully.
I know, like they say, we've already pulled I'll Love You Forever.
You're mine forever.
So yeah, this was the first song in side 2 of more of the Monkees, Mike Nesmith's favorite album. A side of tunes that opens with this song and closes with I'm a Believer. Neil Diamond song on each end of side 2.
Man, must be Neil Diamond's
Not
favorite
bad.
Monkees record, to tell you that.
Yes.
He probably bought 7 pools because of this album.
For real. But obviously we dig the song. It's cool on the show. They use it quite a bit. And specifically the blue shirts on like the back.
Yep.
The back of the pad.
Yeah.
And they got a lot of mileage out of this tune on the show.
They did. They definitely did. It's a great song. Great Davy tune. And it works the best for Davy to sing because he's the one who would be in love with two girls.
In this predicament.
Yeah. And he has to choose which one. Is 2 girls the same night? You've got 2 dates or something? I don't know. It's always 2 girls with me anyway, man. So I don't have a problem with that. So where are we putting this one? I'd say pretty high up.
Yes, I think we've talked it up pretty good. So yeah, it's up there. What's our current highest Davy song? I think it's Valerie.
Valerie is at number 10.
Do we like it more than Valerie?
I don't think I like it more than Valerie. I think I like Valerie more, for my own personal persuasion. What do you feel?
It's a tough one. I don't think I quite like it more than Sometime in the Morning or I'm a Believer even.
I would put it maybe at number right after Valerie. Do a Davy 1, 2, 10, 11.
Yeah. Then we have a Mickey 1, 2 at 12, 13. Yes. That'll do.
Just didn't make the top 10. Right at the cusp.
Look Out, Here Comes Tomorrow just misses the top 10, which we'll run down for you right now while we're here. Why not?
May as well.
Number 10, Valerie.
Number 9, I Love You Better.
Number 8, Tapioca Tundra.
It cannot be a part of me.
Number 7, The Girl I Knew Somewhere.
Number 6, You Just May Be the One.
Number 5, Listen to the Band.
4, Circle Sky.
Number 3, Pleasant Valley Sunday.
Number 2, long title, Do I Have to Do This All Over Again?
And holding strong at number 1, so many people's favorite, the Porpoise Song. Well, Jeff, always a great time, I gotta say.
Always a great time.
Thank you all for listening. We hope you're digging it. Yeah, keep commenting, keep listening. It's been awesome. So from me, Paco.
And me, Jeff.
Have yourself a Monkees little evening.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Hey, Monkees fans. With everything going on with social distancing, Podcast Valley Sunday will be on every 2 weeks. We hope you're staying safe, we hope you're staying at home, and we hope that you're listening to the Monkees and obviously Podcast Valley Sunday. You can check us out on Facebook, on Instagram, and on YouTube. And please, rate us and leave a message. We'd love to hear from you. But, as always, be gentle with us. We're very sensitive.